Good morning. The corona situation keeps getting worse, and if even for just a day, India has beaten Brazil to the world's number 2 slot when it comes to the number of fresh daily infections. In fact, researchers in MIT have looked at infection levels across 84 countries, and they've looked at various other parameters in these countries, and based on that they've come to the conclusion that the actual number of infections is probably 12 times what the governments of these countries say, and the actual death count is probably double of what is officially been stated. As a result of their studies, these researchers conclude that the number of the corona infections will probably rise from around 12 million right now to about 249 million in about a year's time, and the number of deaths will rise from about 5.5 lakhs right now to about 1.8 million. This, of course, assumes that there will be no medical breakthroughs, no vaccines, remdesivir and these kind of drugs will not really be effective in controlling corona. Now, if that's a huge jump, keep in mind the fact that of India's 7.2 lakh cases, as our lead story points out, 2/3 were added in just the last 1 month. And the number is even higher. It's 70% for states like Tamil Nadu and Delhi, and 75% when it comes to states like Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. In fact, a large part of the jump in recent weeks in India has come from some of these South Indian states, apart from, of course, Maharashtra, which continues to contribute quite steadily to the corona coal. And as part of the global moves to pressurize China, American Secretary of State Michael Pompeo has said that, like India, he too is considering banning of Chinese apps like TikTok. In fact, the Secretary of State has gone so far as to say that Americans should download TikTok only if they don't mind their personal data getting into the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. And an interesting aside, with the Chinese extending their security law to Hong Kong, a lot of Western technology companies such as Facebook are not quite clear as to how they should deal with this. How should they will deal with the request of the Chinese government for data on people in Hong Kong. Now, what's interesting is that TikTok, which the Secretary of State Michael Pompeo has accused of being a patsy for the Chinese government, TikTok has actually quit Hong Kong, or said it will quit Hong Kong, because it says it doesn't want this data to get into the hands of the Chinese government. And as part of India's moves to try and ratchet up the pressure on China, the Intelligence Bureau is actually insisting that no remote access will be allowed for the 5G trials, and all data that is to be got from there is to be stored locally. Now, this will probably make it very difficult for Chinese companies to participate in the trials. So, in a sense, it is essentially one more attempt by the government of India to put pressure on the Chinese. Bajaj Auto will be forced to shut its operations from July 10 to 18 as the local government, as the Aurangabad authorities have decided to clamp down and enforce a lockdown from those days, essentially to keep the spread of corona. Now, Rajiv Bajaj, who is the head of Bajaj Auto, has imposed very sharp pay cuts for this period with the condition. Basically, what he's saying is the lockdown is from July 10 to 18. So he's saying if workers come on duty on the 8th and the 9th, that is just before the lockdown, and they resume duty on the 19th, that is just after the lockdown, they will face a 50% salary cut for the period of lockdown. And for the rest of the workers, it is going to be a 100% pay cut. Now, that seems very harsh, since, if there are infections in a workplace, in a factory, how many of us would want to go and work there? So it is quite normal for the workers in Bajaj Auto and the trade unions out there to be demanding that the company shut down. After all, keep in mind that, given the number of infections in Bajaj Auto, the infection levels are probably around 3 to 4%. For India as a whole, they're about 0.6 or 0.5 or 0.6%. So that's a reason which justifies Bajaj Auto shutting down till the infections are under control. But keep in mind, infections in India, they're going to treble in around another month, or perhaps even a little less. So what do you do in a situation like this? Shutdowns are an obvious answer, and we've tried this before. But as we've seen before, the economic costs of shutdown are equally large. So that's a big conundrum which we need to deal with, which we need to grapple with. On a different note, the Aurangabad shutdown essentially sort of reinforces what Nomura had said, and we had talked about this yesterday, if you recall. So what Nomura had said was, apart from anything else, the rising levels of infection, of corona infections, which could lead to factories shutting down and people, not going out to do shopping and things like that will dampen India's revival. So which is why, for example, in July, Nomura's index showed that the levels of activity were actually coming down, and if there are more lockdowns like this, we will certainly see a further damping of economic activity. Our lead editorial today slams ICMR for its attempt to try and fast track the vaccine and make it come out in 6 to 8 weeks, especially after Bharat Biotech, which is the creator of the vaccine, had in its initial application said that it would take about 15 months for it to get ready. In fact, the choice of Independence Day to release the vaccine clearly suggests that there was a political angle to it. There was perhaps political pressure. Vaccines, as we know, take about 4 to 5 years to make, and as we've argued in the editorial, even if you compress that time frame, you have to be very careful, because unlike some of the other drugs which are being given as a cure, they are being given as a cure for a last resort patient. They are given as a cure for experimental drugs. Vaccines are going to be given to healthy people. So if there's even a slight problem with the vaccine, you can have severe health implications for healthy people, which is why it is important that no corner be cut and every protocol be followed, and the results be looked at very, very carefully. In fact, we make a similar point regarding the ramp up of testing that is happening. It's happened in the capital. The testing levels have quadrupled since Home Minister Amit Shah decided to take control of what is happening in Delhi. But the problem is, as we argued in the editorial, that most of the testing that is being done in Delhi, most of the additional ramp up has been done through what is called a rapid antigen test. Now the rapid antigen test is very quick. You can get the results in about half an hour. But the problem is that it is not very effective. So basically what we've been saying is that, as the ICMR guideline says, that if somebody is missed out by the rapid antigen test, there should be a PCR test immediately, which is not happening here. So not only is this a problem in Delhi, the issue now is that many states which are being encouraged to increase testing are being asked to use rapid antigen tests. So we are saying this will give us a false sense of security, because there will be a large number of people testing negative, but that will actually harm the country as a whole. Our second editorial is on Dr. Gagandeep Kant quitting. Basically, she has said that she is quitting because of personal reasons, but as we note in our editorial, she has quit 2 months after a panel that she headed to look at new corona drugs and new vaccines. That panel was wound up. So we say that that's quite a problem, because Dr. Kant has impeccable credentials and she's vocalized her concerns over some of ICMR's decisions. In fact, in a pandemic, when very few people really know what's going on, when scientific knowledge is at a premium, letting go of a globally recognized expert is certainly bad news. Stay safe. Thank you.